I thought, would this wake me up and really force me to look at things and get back to that amazing place of not drinking. And instead it did the opposite. And I ate too much, I drank too much, I didn't move my body. And a year later, I was looking at pictures of myself and resigning myself to a life of mediocrity instead of getting my act together.
Welcome to the Sober Spill podcast. I'm your host, Isabel. On this podcast, we have real conversations with people in recovery, their families, and organizations that pertain to this field. Today, I'm here with the host of the clinical side of our podcast, Jana Wu.
Thank you, Isabel. My guests will discuss best clinical practices, new emerging trends in substance use and mental health disorders, and how we can best take care of ourselves and our loved ones in recovery.
See you every Thursday.
And come spill with us soon.
Hi, my name is Isabel Donnelly, and welcome to the Sober Spill. Today, I am here with Melissa, aka the Sober New Yorker, and a woman who loves to accessorize. So for the people that don't know you, who are you?
I do love to accessorize. My name is Melissa McGovern, yes, aka the Sober New Yorker. And I am a woman who has lived in New York for almost 31 years. So I think, when I was thinking about that handle, that title, it seemed appropriate because I've been here for so long, and even though I was raised in Wisconsin, I really truly feel like I've always been a New Yorker. And I love the theater. I love to take adult beginner dance classes. We could talk about that later if you want. And I'm a mom and a wife and a proud sober New Yorker.
I love the Midwest. I was at one point like a Minnesota transplant, and I love the culture out there.
Yeah, well, it's a big drinking culture.
Certainly. Yeah. But reciprocally, there's a lot of recovery because it's a big drink. Anywhere there's a lot of drinking, there's also a lot of like AA and stuff.
I know a lot of, a good couple handfuls of Wisconsin sober folks. And yeah, it's everywhere out there. And when you step away from it, you really realize how you were raised, and it being all around you all the time was probably not the most normal thing.
Well, it's like, how else are you going to stay warm?
How you stay warm, how you watch sports, how you go to weddings and funerals and everything. Yeah.
I love that. I always thought, I was like, I'm from New England. I'm used to the cold. And then you go to the Midwest, and I was like, good God, like the wind.
Well, when I moved to New York in 1995, I was shocked by how New Yorkers responded to cold weather because this is not cold.
No,
it just is not. And then when I had kids, pushing them in the stroller, people would come up to me, literally, when it was in the high 40s, 50s, and say, they need to be more warm.
Yeah.
Put the plastic over the stroller and, like a little bubble baby.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
You're like, you don't know what I'm seeing.
You don't know what I'm seeing. The cold air is just fine for them. Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
And how did you, I'm sure there's more to this, but like, how did you end up in New York? Like, how did you get to the city from Wisconsin? That's a big jump.
It's a huge jump.
Yeah.
I could not wait to get out of my small town. I grew up in a town of 5,000 people. And I remember from the age of 9 years old wanting to go to the Art Institute of Chicago. I was an artist as a little kid, and that transferred into performing arts as a teenager. I went to college at a UW school for my Bachelor of Fine Arts in musical theater. And after I graduated, I had a job at a local dinner theater in Wisconsin and also had a sister theater in Ohio. That's where I met my very best friend, T. Scott. And I moved to New York after I did that show, and that was in 1995. He said, if you want to really do this thing, if you want to give this acting thing a shot, you have to move to New York. And I said, okay. And I packed every suitcase I had and I moved here on July 5th, 1995. We had a place to stay for 2 weeks on 9th Avenue and 46th Street above a restaurant that no longer exists. And I got a job, a singing waitress job. I started auditioning. I figured it out. And I did it for a few years, maybe 5 years or so, until I decided I wanted more control over my life and do other things.
It's so impressive to me when people like take that big leap, because there's so many things where it's like we really can live in a prison of our own making, sober or not. And I know there's so many things where I'm like, oh, I wish I could do this. And it's like, why don't I? Like that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, where I am right now in my life, 54 years old compared to 23 years old when I moved here. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm doing exactly what I did 31 years ago. Mm. Like, I feel like the most passionate about my life as I did when I first moved to New York. Most excited about my life. Mm. I have kids, and that was exciting too, but it's a different kind of exciting because it's a lot.
Yeah.
But as far as me personally, my where I am right now in my life is very similar to when I first got here.
And so taking it way back, like when did, obviously coming from like a big drinking culture, like was there alcoholism in your family? Was alcoholism as a concept something you were aware of?
It was. My parents directly did not show signs of it. My dad did drink. Mm-hmm. We would have pool parties where he would have a huge margarita glass, like 64-ounce margarita glass that he filled up and had in the daytime. But it wasn't an issue. His father, my grandfather, was an alcoholic and died when I was 14. He and my grandmother were divorced. We would go visit them separately. He was always gray in color. He smoked a lot of cigarettes. I didn't have a close relationship with him. When he did die, I was 14. It coincided with one of the first times I got busted for drinking. And my parents took me to the hospital to see him dying from cirrhosis and liver failure. And I think in an attempt to shake me.
Oh, it was like a scared straight.
Yes. And it did not work.
But they never do. It never does.
I had it was like seeing someone I didn't know dying. I mean, it was gruesome. I do remember what I saw, and I got the fact that that's what they were trying to do. Mm-hmm. But it didn't make me say, oh my God, this is terrible. I should stop drinking.
And especially I feel like as young women, like a lot of the times, like when you're a young girl, it's like you see an old man passing away from alcoholism and it's like, okay, but that's not me. Like I wouldn't do that. It's very easy, I think, being a young person drinking to be like, yeah, but those consequences, like that's not real for me.
Right. Yeah. And, now that I'm older, he was only 64. And
oh wow,
so at 14 that seems old, but when you're 10 years younger than that right now, it wasn't old. And then years later, his son, my dad's brother, died the same way, and he was age 48, 49. So there was a piece there, but I don't know, just because I wasn't very close to either one of them, it didn't make it really real.
Yeah, where you weren't concerned. So did you have an idea that it was in your family and that could be something that you ended up struggling with?
Maybe. I don't know. It's like I knew it was there. I knew that myself personally, every time I drank, it was in excess. It just was from the very beginning. And I was always the biggest drinker of the group. I'm 6 feet tall woman, so I could keep up with all the boys, all the men. And so I did know that was a thing for me very early on. Absolutely.
And so when you moved out to the city, did your drinking change? Like, you're out of that culture, you're kind of pursuing your dreams, literally. Like, how did that?
Yeah, I think it did because I didn't have much money.
Falling on a budget, yeah.
Right? I waited tables at this cruise ship, Spirit of New York. It's still there in Chelsea Piers. And we would go out after our shift to the local bar, Wilson's, no longer there. I think it's called West Side Tavern on 23rd Street. And we would drink. We would have pitchers of beer, but it wasn't, I still had to pay rent. And it didn't affect, I was young. I think when you're really young, you can get away with a lot of stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, there has to be some major red flags for people to be like, whoa. Otherwise, it's easy to be like, I'm just young. Like, that's what I'm doing. Everybody's doing it.
Right. I didn't know anyone who was sober at that age.
Yeah.
So it didn't, I don't think, when I look back at my drinking career, things really didn't ramp up for me until I was in my 40s. And that's not to say that, like I said, every time I drank, there were times in my 20s and 30s that were not good, not pretty. And for a long time, it was in the back of my head that this probably was not going to be a sustainable lifetime of drinking for me. But when my kids were born, and especially as they got into their teenage years, my daughter had some pretty awful mental health stuff she was dealing with. And that was one of the first times I would see my doctor, and my liver enzymes would be elevated. And I didn't have any idea what liver enzymes even were.
Yeah. And
she would say, take a break, come back and retest. And that was in 2018. So I started getting glimpses of what it felt like without drinking for a few weeks, maybe even a couple months. But classic story, my brain would always go back to, I can moderate. I can go out, I can have just a couple. I can not drink during the week and then drink on the weekends. I started telling people that out loud 20 years ago. When my daughter was in preschool. I remember specifically saying that to someone, that I was, cutting back, and the mental gymnastics around that were exhausting because it never worked. It would be Thursday's close enough to Friday, Wednesday's close enough to Thursday. Not to say that I was drinking every night back then, but it was exhausting.
No, I'm glad that you brought up the mental gymnastics, because there's so much peace in surrender. Like, surrender feels like, to some people, it can be kind of perceived as like defeat, like I'm surrendering, but it's like, I don't have to fight anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't have to argue with myself. I don't have to bargain. I don't have to do all this stuff. I can just be done. Yeah. And there's so much freedom in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
And did the drinking impact your job? Like, so after a couple years, you got out of doing the showbiz stuff, pursuing acting. What did you get into after that?
Well, I was a stay-at-home mom for many years until my oldest daughter was about 16. And then before the pandemic, I went back to work as an elder aide. There were some family friends that needed help with their mother who was in their 90s. And it sounded like the perfect job. I could kind of make my own hours. I could still be there for my kids after school. And it satisfied me for a long time. And there were two women that I worked with. And that was right before the pandemic. And then the pandemic happened, so there was a little break. But when they came back, I started right up again. And my drinking during that time was, it was still always a thing that I really wanted to try to do. And my sober curiosity really picked up in 2019 when I heard Andy Ramage on a Rich Roll podcast talking about his new program, 1 Year No Beer. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Andy Ramage is a British football player. And he I just met him recently, actually.
Oh, that must have
last
been
week.
cool.
Yeah, he's going to come on my podcast. It's going to be awesome. But he, like, hearing him talk about that you don't have to hit a rock bottom, that there's this middle lane drinking, this gray area drinking. So all that combined with Ruby Warrington's book called Sober Curious, all of a sudden I started getting really curious, and that was 2019. And I took a break right before the pandemic started for 4 months in this program, 1 Year No Beer. But as soon as the pandemic hit New York, I went back to it once again. My brain saying, I'm cured, or I can have one, or and then during the pandemic, I suffered some really, really big loss that kind of pushed me over the edge. My best friend, T. Scott, who I mentioned earlier, who I moved to New York with, he struggled a lot with alcohol. And he lived in Ohio at the time, and he was in and out of rehab, halfway houses kind of thing during the pandemic. And I knew that his life probably wasn't going to be that long, because his body was showing signs of abuse, of shutting down. He was also HIV positive. So he, in April of 2022, walked into the hospital to have his fluids drained from his abdomen.
Yeah.
And he had sepsis and pneumonia. And he died 6 days later in the hospital. And it was so tragic. It was really... It gutted me in a way that not only did I lose my best friend, but the thing that I was doing, I knew I was drinking too much. And I thought, would this wake me up and really force me to look at things and get back to that amazing place of not drinking? And instead it did the opposite. And I ate too much, I drank too much, I didn't move my body. And a year later, I was looking at pictures of myself and resigning myself to a life of mediocrity instead of getting my act together. So I had a doctor's appointment, and she had known about my elevated liver enzymes and stuff from the past. And I told her I thought I was drinking too much. And she didn't want to jump to conclusions. She's an amazing doctor. I would say Dr. Carmen Chitu of NYU Langone. She's absolutely amazing. And she took my blood, and my blood work was horrible. Absolutely horrible. She told me I needed to make drastic behavioral changes, or she would put me on a medication, not just for... my liver enzymes were in the 200 and 300 range. And cholesterol, blood pressure, my A1C, my glucose, all of that. And you want to talk about surrender. I mean, I was about to go into work with my old lady, sitting in the park across from where she lived, and that message came on my chart on my phone, and I saw my numbers. And I said, I cannot do this. I cannot do this anymore. I'm done. I'm done. Like, I have to stop fooling myself that I'm a moderate drinker. I've never been a moderate drinker. I'm just not going to... I can't do it. And so I made an appointment with her 11 weeks later. And then I got busy. I just started listening to podcasts, books, exercising. I changed my diet. I didn't sit around and eat ice cream. I know a lot of people do that, and nothing against it. But if I was going to make change, it was going to be all in. And I did. 11 weeks later, my liver enzymes were completely normal. I lost 27 pounds. My cholesterol came down 50 points.
Wow.
And my A1C was below pre-diabetic. It was almost diabetic. I mean, it was life-changing. And no part of me wanted to pick up wine and celebrate. I just wanted to figure out how to keep going. make this part of my life.
And how did your partner receive this? Like your husband, how did he receive this? How did your kids receive this?
I don't think I was totally open about the fact that I had that awful, because he has seen me do this before, so when you get to that point again, it's really hard to say, yeah, I'm doing this again.
Yeah.
Without really feeling it yourself, like it's going to stick. So I just kind of got my shit together on my own. And about 6 weeks in, I remember my daughter came home from college and she noticed that I'd lost some weight and that I looked really good. I told her I wasn't drinking, but I didn't say all of the whys behind it. And my husband, of course, now he's been 2.5 years sober at this point, but we've had good conversations about it. And he knew, he lived with me, that night, right when the pandemic was happening, we were walking to dinner and I said, I think I want a beer. And he replied, have a beer. Do you think you can have just one? And he probably doesn't even remember that, but he knew. And, you can't hide. They always know.
Well, yeah, a lot of people always have an inkling, and it's funny because I'm sure, maybe this wasn't your experience, but when you get sober and then people are like, oh, I'm so glad to hear that you did. I was really worried.
Yeah.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, and I've asked them that question, because part of me thought, why doesn't someone just intervene?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't need a whole damn intervention. But what if a friend or my husband said, I think you're drinking. Are you drinking too much?
Yeah.
I was begging for that to happen.
Yeah, then you don't have to make the choice. It's made for
right.
Yeah.
Fantasizing about it, about someone saying that and then being like, yes, I am. And I should do something about it. It to me, that seemed like it would be so much easier to get going on it if someone said that than my own brain that says, you're fine. Look around. Yeah. You're not the worst one in the room.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. It's so interesting to me. I very much identify with that.
Yeah. So, I've since asked him, were you close to saying something? And he said he was. So, but my kids, now that they're old enough to see what I'm doing, they really appreciate it. I think they think it's pretty neat, and it's a good thing to show your kids, no matter how old they are. I waited a while. Would I have liked to do it when they were younger? Sure. I would get young parents today that are doing it, and I'm so happy and impressed and inspired by them.
And you mentioned your daughter going through a lot of mental health issues in high school. That is immensely stressful. You really can't. I know we had my mom on the podcast at one point. She's an Al-Anon, and we talked about, because I was a very mentally ill teenager with a lot of concerning behaviors. And that is so massively stressful. I think we forget how hard that is on an entire family unit.
Yeah. And you can't control it. So I drank to control it. And, when those liver enzymes popped up the first time, elevated, I thought to myself, what is going on in my life that I'm drinking too much? And then I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
That was the same. My mom, she mentioned she went to a therapy session with the therapist that I had been seeing, and she mentioned something about how she was feeling, and she said, but everybody feels that way. My therapist was like, no. That's not true.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of times our first, because it's seeking help for ourselves. It's whoa, but I'm not that bad. But then when someone else gets it, you get that little glimpse into you with the doctor, maybe something isn't right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredibly hard.
Very. Yeah.
I'm Ricky, recovery support clinician here at Mountainside. We offer a healthcare professionals program for physicians, nurses, dentists, and therapists. Our team of board-certified addiction specialists provide discreet, comprehensive treatment for substance use and co-occurring disorders. We're here to help you achieve sustainable recovery with a plan built around your unique needs. Reach out to admissions at mountainside.com for more details.
And so now you have like 2.5 years. What were some of the first steps you took that you found helpful?
Well, after that doctor's appointment where I went back and everything was just glowing and beaming and she was so happy, I thought, how do I keep this going? And I always heard and knew that community was key in this process. So I signed up for a retreat months in the future. And I had no idea that it came with a community. So I hopped on a meeting for the first time, turned my camera on, raised my hand, trying to figure this all out. Yeah. And spilled my guts, just spilled my guts. And it felt so good. And I found another community after that. And I've been a part of community now for 2.5 years almost.
So. It's called community?
The first one is Sober Sisters, Megan Wilcox.
Okay.
She's in Boston, all women. And the other one, it was Sober Buddy, but Sober Buddy disbanded, and now it's called Sober Motivation.
Okay.
It's made up of men and women. Yeah. And
it's cool. That's what we have sometimes, because obviously at Mountainside, like we work with a ton of people, and I was asking alumni, like different clients about I'm like, oh, do you have any hot plans for 2026? And someone said they were going on a sober retreat. Yeah. And that is so, because I'm so anxious, I can't imagine being like, oh, I'm just going to go and meet all these new people. That sounds so freeing, but that's such a leap to take. Obviously, you're no stranger to that, Wisconsin to New York, but is that because you said you went to Bali? Was that a sober retreat?
Bali was a sober retreat. Vermont was a sober retreat. I've been to New Orleans. I've been to...
Wow.
And I've been to other retreats as well, entrepreneurial, because during this process, I got certified to be an alcohol-free success and mindset coach. So I help women now, mostly women. I have one male client, do exactly what I did, do exactly what so many others are trying to do, to get this thing out of your life and live a happy and big, bold, badass life without it. And that fires me up beyond belief, seeing people reach that success. But the retreats themselves are absolutely incredible, because the vibes, you know yourself when you get a group of sober people together, the vibes are through the roof. Yeah. And a whole day can feel like a week. So if you're in some place like Bali or for 7 days, it's just mind-blowing. And to get back in touch with, some exercises to do around your sobriety and just making that connections. Some of my best friends to this day are women I met on that Bali retreat.
Totally. That's the power of I used to go to a women's group. It's since disbanded, but it was a women's AA group. And I used to say, I'm just the power of all of us in this room. I want to go and I don't know, tip something over together or something. We can do anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, you make the best friends in recovery too.
Yeah, you do. Because there's so much honesty and realness and no shame, just we've been there, we've done that. Yeah. And we're not loaded, so we can pay attention to what each other is saying.
Yeah, good recall.
Yeah. And it's absolutely incredible. So much so that with a partner, Rachel Hechtman, we're doing our own New York City Sober Spring Retreat this year. That is really, really exciting, that we're going to have 10 women come to this incredible city to experience it with a sober lens. And because when I, going back to talking about when I was much younger, the fact that I was at the end of my drinking career, coming home from my part-time job, picking up wine, being sure to not pick up wine the same place, which is easy to do in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are literally like 10,000 liquor stores or something.
Yeah.
Getting home, opening that wine, sitting on my couch, doom scrolling, watching TV, waiting till my husband came home from dinner, for dinner, and just inside my four walls. I was not living in New York City. I was trapped. And it was keeping me so small. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I sure do now. Because I'm out of the box. I'm out of those walls, and I'm doing anything and everything in this city. And I mean, you follow my Instagram, like I'm all over the place, and I just love it. And I never would have been doing that if I was still drinking. I just wouldn't have. It was too easy for me to blow shit off. The weather, I don't like the rain, I don't like the snow.
You're
too many
out there
excuses.
with your little mic when you're like walking in the street. I mean, it's cute. Look at her go.
I know. I mean, and the dance classes I've found.
Yeah.
The storytelling troupe that I'm in, and my public speaking group, Toastmasters. I mean, I'm doing it. I rarely sit on that couch anymore. I just don't. I don't have time.
Yeah, you're living life.
I'm living life at 54 years old, and proving that it's never too late to either reinvent your story or reignite it, or, find what was passionate for you and bring it to life again.
And that's so inspiring. So I know I get very I'm 27, but I'll be like, well, this is what I am, and this is all I'll ever be, and this is, I guess, what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And I'll get really nihilistic about it. And then I see people just reinvent, be like, I want to do something different and do something different.
Oh, girl, you got your whole
Yeah,
life ahead. I mean, you could have 6 different careers if you wanted.
I'm scared of change. I'm an alcoholic.
No, you have so much. I mean, that's just amazing. Yeah, 27 to have the whole world ahead of you. It's really, really, it's going to be fun.
I hope so. Yeah, here's hoping. And I love with your retreat too, a lot of people, I forget how fortunate I am to be surrounded by people in recovery, because I never have to be anything but a person in recovery, really. I don't have to hide that part of myself. But after going to Rachel's 5-year party with the friend that I brought, who she doesn't work in the recovery field, she's like, I forgot how nice it is to just be like, oh yeah, I'm sober. I do heroin anymore. Because she's like, I don't get to do that really ever.
In the regular group of people?
Yeah. Which I forget, because everyone I'm surrounded with at all times, I'm like, whatever. I'm, it's normal for me, but I forget that's not the case for everybody. So those retreats are an awesome place to just be, exist.
Just be, just exist, and do, because that's the other thing. People often are under the assumption that you get sober and then what do you do for fun?
Yeah, it's over.
Right. But you do the same things you did, you just don't drink.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you're not hanging out
not doing crime anymore
at the bar. Yeah. Maybe you're not doing that so much. Yeah. But you're not, it's not like you're if I go to a ball game, I'm still going to go to the ball game. I'm just not going to have a beer with it.
Yeah, I'm at the Yankees. I'm yelling. I've got chicken tenders. I'm just not drunk.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. But so when you hang out with other sober people, everyone knows that, and that's, I think, why the vibes get so high and so fun. I mean, we were in Bali singing in the cab with the windows down, Love Shack Baby at the top of our lungs. And all the villagers came out to see the crazy Americans in the car. And I mean, we were peeing our pants. Yeah. And when we got back to the hotel, my friend said, it felt so good to do that, because when I first got sober, I wondered if I would ever have those big belly laughs again.
Yeah.
And that's a legit concern, definitely. I'm here to say I've probably laughed more and had more fun as a sober woman than I ever did. It's because it's real. It's real. It's not clouded, diluted.
Yeah. Being able to laugh so hard you cry. I was laughing so hard I was crying last night. I made my husband, I was like, we can't be on our phones. And so I was like, I gave him a notepad. And I'm like, you draw a portrait of me and I draw a portrait of you. And he gave it to me and it was so messed up. He's like, you're going to be mad. You're going to be upset. And I laughed so hard I cried. I was like, my mouth is objectively like small. Like I have a small mouth. I'm like, how did this happen? He's like, that's as small as I knew how to make it. I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, scale it down.
Oh, it's funny. That's funny. Well, when you're my age, you will pee instead of cry when you laugh, just so you have something to look forward to.
I can't wait. I'll get a diaper. Depends. That's a partnership. I've got time to build up. So by the time I'm 50, I'll get that sponsorship. And so tell me about the adult, like the dance classes that you've been doing.
Oh my
get into
God.
that.
Oh my
crazy,
God.
like
They're
vulnerable.
so amazing. Yeah. Talk about getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing of like what I'm doing. I learned early on that if I wanted to take a risk and do something uncomfortable, I could do it. And if I failed, so what? It would just teach me something. And these adult dance classes came about I followed her on Instagram. And she started posting about doing these classes at the studio down in Chinatown on Pell Street. And it has grown into one of my favorite activities. I don't have my gym membership anymore because I'd rather spend money on dance classes.
It's mindful, it's joyful movement.
It's so joyful.
Yeah.
And, as a theater person in the past, I would go to dance calls, but dance was not my thing. So it was frustrating that I couldn't get the combination. I couldn't, it just wasn't my thing. Here, it's just fun. And she wants you to screw up and she wants you to have a good time and she wants you to treat it like a real dance class. And she makes you feel like you're on Broadway every single time. I mean, at least that's the way I feel. I just am so joyful when I take it and it fills my cup big time.
I want to be you when I grow up. Aw, that was wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Like, you are such a radiant person. Like, your energy is incredible. I'm so excited to see where this all goes for you and for these retreats. Like, I don't know. I think you're doing a great thing and you're leading with, genuine, like you're very genuine.
I'm the real deal. That's the thing I get from everyone, my clients, people.
Yeah.
You're so real.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, who am I?
What else?
Who am I supposed to be?
Yeah.
But I do get that some people, put on a persona. I wouldn't be able to do that if I tried. I was an actress. Give me a role and I can do it. But when it comes to just me, that's who I am. I'm just me.
Yeah, no, I get that. I don't have the level of like inhibition. I don't have the threshold to like mask in any way. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, this is what you're getting. We'll see if you like it or not. If not, I'm so sorry. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that comes with age too. I will say, like, that's the good, but also being sober, the confidence that I've gained with that and my age. And I mean, I feel pretty unstoppable. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of my life.
I love that. And where can people find you if they want to check out what you're up to?
I'm the Sober New Yorker everywhere on my Instagram, my podcast, my website.
It's convenient. All the domains were available.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, no,
that was the universe.
Yeah. Just logistically, I'm impressed. That's awesome. And we'll link that all below. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This has been awesome. Thanks.
Sweet. And check us out next week. New episodes every Thursday. And find Melissa at the links in the bio. Thank you.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, Mountainside can help. Call 860-365-6764 to speak with our caring treatment team.